tourism readiness, and more specifically, a little background on heritage tourism and how it might relate to your specific cemeteries in East Texas. So feel free to interrupt me at any time, because one of the benefits of this small setting is to have a forum for interaction, and I think that's a better thing to do to help build the concept into your local situation. So feel free to interrupt me here. But heritage tourism is basically tourism related to history. There are some official definitions. The National Trust for Historic Preservation defines cultural heritage tourism as traveling to experience the places, artifacts, and activities that authentically present the stories and people of the past and present. It includes cultural, historic, and natural resources. I think they put italics on authentically because that's an emphasis area for them. They want to make sure that stories are as accurate as possible in heritage tourism efforts. Some statistics. Tourism is one of the nation's largest employment sectors. Directly, 7.8 million people. And indirectly, another 11.5 million. And if you think about it, tourism, it's not just motel room stays. People will come and use restaurants, and there are multiplier effects also of tourism dollars that circulate around the community. Visiting historic sites and museums makes up 14% of all tourism, and events and festivals make up another 10%. Do any of you have festivals right now in your towns? Yeah. Crockett does, I think.
Yes, they do, and coming up fairly soon, I think the 24th, maybe in March, somewhere in there, the Mission Tank House will be having a folk festival.
Oh, okay. 2/3 of American adult travelers include heritage or culture on their trips. And heritage travelers stay longer and spend more money than a lot of other travelers, often staying in hotels, motels, B&Bs, and they purchase unique items from their destination. So why should you promote cultural resources? It's a growing form of tourism. It creates jobs, new business opportunities, and strengthens local economies. It can increase property values. People like to live in a historic town like Crockett or Nacogdoches, St. Augustine. Linking your heritage with tourism and sharing it with visitors preserves your community's culture and draws in the economic benefits of tourism. One of the biggest benefits is the opportunity to diversify economies while holding on to the characteristics that make communities special. So, your community should take advantage of this if possible. Some various resources you might have that link with heritage. A lot of people think natural heritage is heritage tourism too. Some people mix the two. So you can have recreational areas, nature areas, festivals, historic districts, museums, and cemeteries.
Might also add their trails, well, like El Camino, there's a big push for that, and also the Zebulon Pike Trail that did come through Houston County as well as Cherokee County.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Zebulon Pike Trail.
Four actually, Pike Peak. Yeah, I did a lot of nature tourism work in Oregon and Mexico, and they always emphasize to mix it with other types of tourism. So it's a good strategy because often people may not come just to see one thing, but if you mix things together, it makes the area quite attractive. So, cemeteries you may not think automatically as a part of tourism, but a visit to someone's headstone provides a different connection to the past, a connection that is really impossible to create with a lot of other forms of tourism. You can really get a face-to-face picture of history. Heritage tourism provides opportunities for visitors to gain an understanding of an unfamiliar place, people, or time. The older the cemetery, the older the headstones. Regional cemeteries produce special and unique headstones that show changes in a region over time. And they can remind us of our past, good, bad, sad, and happy. The lady that was in earlier talked about the Brooks Cemetery. She had some quite colorful stories associated with that. People just passing through may not capture those stories without that interpretation. So cemeteries are used as pretty popular sites to visit through interpretation, guided tours, and that special historical look there. The interpretation is important in making it successful. Each cemetery is unique, and well-interpreted sites teach visitors their importance, and by extension, the importance of preserving other sites. So some examples of cemetery interpretation. Local historians, like we have here, may give a tour, sometimes for a fee, and it can be a periodic, well-attended event for your community there. This lady is dressing up and also has artifacts from that time period. And Dr. Beisel may be able to add something about some places that she's visited that have tours like this that are booked up all summer already. They're just so popular. I forget the one you mentioned.
Stones River National Battlefield.
Okay.
It's their candlelight tour.
Okay. Candlelight tour?
Yeah, it's in the evening, so you come with a flashlight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very popular.
Oh, they never even really advertise because once word goes out, all the reservations are taken up each year. So it's really well done.
And they do something like this, don't they?
Yeah, because they're all they're at the national battlefield, and so it's a Civil War battle. They have people dressed up in period costumes, either to represent the soldier or a family member. And then, as you have listed there, they actually read from the letters written either by the soldier or from the family members about their experience that, that were produced by these people. And so you learn about this individual and larger family and why they went off to war and how they ended up in this national cemetery. So you go and you hear about people from Michigan and Tennessee and from all over the country who ended up in Murfreesboro.
So it may not be necessarily a historic person, but just an average person and what their experience.
Yes, I mean these are all regular soldiers or their wives back home. So, yeah, no famous people.
Just a couple of concepts about marketing, and then we'll wrap up here. But, marketing, a lot of folks that market for heritage tourism are using the web now. I know the Nacogdoches Visitor Center spends, I think, over half their money on web marketing. And so you could use an existing travel website such as TripAdvisor. We'll take a look at that. We have some existing regional websites. Dr. Reynolds used to be the coordinator for Texas Forest Trails, and then the Piney Woods Experience is a East Texas site set up by the Conservation Fund. And then, of course, Chamber of Commerce or Visitor Center. You can get your information on those sites there. This is TripAdvisor. It's becoming popular for folks to find out about places. Largest online community of travelers, and 25 million visitors every month. And people that visit a place can write a review of that site there. So you can list your attractions and cultural resources. And if someone wants to visit East Texas and puts in the right keywords, they'll probably be able to find your tours or resources. They have certain criteria that you can find on the website. They have to have things like scheduled tours or some kind of scheduled departure times. If it's not in a fixed place, predetermined hours or departure times on an official website. So they do have some criteria to make sure their website is credible. And this is what it looks like. And of course, you have the Ellen Trout Zoo, Texas Forestry Museum, and other samples there. And of course, a big emphasis in marketing is niche marketing. It's just finding out exactly what type of people come to your site or could come. So a lot of businesses, no matter what kind of business, I don't know if you were business owners or not, but you probably, if you are, I'm sure you're familiar with finding your customer base. And so that's the basic idea, is not to spend a lot of time trying to attract people that may not come, or spend a lot of money on advertising in big forums to lots of people, but spend your time efficiently attracting people who might come. So you can do things like understand your present tourism client. You can have a student, or some of our students are surveying visitor logs to find out. They do a random survey of a museum visitor log, and you'll know roughly where your people are coming from. And you can figure out what segments they might be coming from, retirees, Europeans, I-35, break it down into little segments. And you can also write an article. A lot of people will get free press by, and our students could do this too in the class setting in some respects. Could maybe write an article about your town, and then you could either put it on the web or try to get it in some kind of journal or newsletter that's focused towards the people that you want to attract. And then you can link with local tourism efforts like we mentioned there. So that's an important thing to think about is niche marketing. So those are some of the sources there, and I just want to re-emphasize that that's something we could offer in our classes. We're always trying to find service learning opportunities for our students, and what that means is they can do an exercise where they learn skills, but it also helps the community. So they could do things like maybe create a map for tourists to your cemetery in our cartography class. In another class, they might be able to, say, economic geography. They could survey your visitor logs and then write an article based on your cemetery for a journal like East Texas, I don't know what kind of journal would apply, but off the top of my head, but that's something we might be able to offer you. That would go beyond this 2-year, 3-year project.